Welcome to In Presence We Trust, a podcast about the art and heart of holding group transformational spaces. I'm Rachel Rickards, founder of the Field Facilitator Training. In Presence We Trust is a sanctuary for aspiring and experienced facilitators seeking to evolve their facilitation and embodied leadership. In each episode, I will be harvesting insights from leading edge facilitators doing transformational work in fields like relationship, embodiment, therapy, intimacy, and education. In this episode, I'm joined by a very special guest, Lin Holmquist. Lin is a spiritual explorer who began her journey with primordial shamanism in the north and then studied classical yoga and tantra in India. She continued with neotantra, NLP, therapy, and blending modern psychology with traditional yogic and tantric practices. In 2011, Lin underwent a profound kundalini awakening, which led her to embrace her inner truth radically. Her superpower is her deep intuition, transforming darkness into light and pain into pleasure. Lin now specializes in using pleasure as a healing method and facilitates Tantra groups and trainings globally, skillfully bridging the material and the spiritual realms. In the conversation you're about to hear, Lin discusses the principles of Tantra therapy and the importance of embracing pleasure and connection in life. She explains that Tantra therapy views all experiences as part of a divine existence and combines coaching, bodywork, and holistic healing to help individuals integrate their life experiences. Lin shares her longing for deep, committed relationship and believes relationships are the key to healing and fulfillment. Connected to that, we discuss the vulnerability of being a facilitator and the desire for commitment and partnership. We explore the connection between Tantra and motherhood, emphasizing presence and authenticity, and we finish off with Lin offering a practical tip for finding joy in parenting and leading a metta meditation to cultivate unconditional love. If you're ready to begin, join me by taking a deep breath.
Thank you, Rachel. I'm honored to be here.
I'd love to start. You call yourself a Tantra therapist. And I think for some people hearing that, they might be like, like, what is that? Where is the place where Tantra and therapy meet? So I would love to hear a little bit how you explain that to people.
Tantra therapy is based on the tantric philosophy. So everyone who is working with Tantra therapy has a foundation of the tantric philosophy that everything is one. Everything is just a frequency of the source. The source, whatever you want to call it. I call it God. Other people call it Big Bang or the universe or the primordial energy. It is something that is so extraordinarily beautiful. Something that is so abundant. Like it's just pure creativity. This energy, the only purpose of this energy is to be expanding and be more and more diverse. You know, it is so beautiful. I'm almost crying in the moment when I tap into it. It's so extremely beautiful. And Tantra is based on this notion that everything is one. And what happens to your so-called problems in the perspective of the one? So if I just look into myself, I can be sad about breaking up with my ex-boyfriend, for example. And I'm beating up myself around this topic and I have my heart broken. I feel I will never meet someone like that again. And I'm stuck in this cloud of contraction, stuck in this cloud of suffering. Maybe my body will start to degrade. Maybe I will be sleepless or lose my hair, or there will be some different symptoms to this stress. But what if I could sit with someone who could open up for the fact that everything is one. Everything that happens is perfect. And everything is part of this magical divine existence. And if I would be able to, with my mind, unite with that just for a moment, I would see that all of the things that I consider to be problems is actually just a pure life experience.
Mm.
And that gives a deep relaxation to the body. It gives a deep relaxation to the mind. And it gives some kind of a reboot to the nervous system. And from that place, we will work how to integrate this. Yeah. To fully relax and embrace and accept, and to meet life and everything in it with a more loving and accepting atmosphere or feeling.
Beautiful. And is this style of therapy, is it generally have to do with speaking, or do you use the body, or is there emotional release? Like, what does it look like?
So it's a combination of coaching, of going back into the past and understanding the patterns of why I'm here and understanding myself. But not only that, it's so important to don't get stuck in the mind and don't get stuck in repeating the mind level, but to actually work with the body and to release from the nervous system, to release from the fascia all this pain and all these tensions that we are carrying. And to reprogram the nervous system and reprogram the body and the mind. So we're using a lot of techniques that's quite similar to hypnosis. And we're using breathing, we're using movements, we are using sometimes changing in diet or changing lifestyle habits, exercise, and it's a very holistic way of healing the obstacles that people come with.
Beautiful. Amazing. And you're also training facilitators or therapists to practice this in their practices as well.
Yeah, I do. And the beauty with the Tantra therapy is that everyone who steps into this profession, they are carrying a lot of own experiences with them. So some of them are coaches already, some of them are yoga teachers, some of them have practiced meditation, some of them have been working with fashion, some of them have been working with animals or sound. And all of these experiences are funneled into this new profession of being a Tantra therapist. So there are so many different kind of Tantra therapists. Someone who is working with fashion and empowering people through the way they dress. Some people working with mostly breath work. Some people adding in sound therapy and so there is a variety of therapists coming out with a lot of different styles of Tantra therapy.
Yes. Beautiful. Yeah, it's a very adaptable, overarching profession where you can integrate a lot into it. Sounds like.
Yeah. And I believe that the people who come to this training, many times they come after healing a deep wound inside themselves.
Yes.
And they have maybe spent several years finding the keys to heal that particular wound. And that gives such a power when we are then going to share with clients, because many times the clients that are resonating with your journey will come to you as a therapist. So all of a sudden, the people who are therapists, they have so much own personal knowledge and so much own personal power from healing themselves. And it's easier for them to understand the client, and it's easier for the client to feel connected and to feel like the therapist is not such a superior person pretending to be perfect, but has actually walked the journey before them.
Yeah. Yeah. So it is this, like, what you radiate, what that piece is that is your transmission is the clients that you will attract.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm curious for you, you've had such a long, colorful journey from being a yoga teacher and then teaching Tantra, and now it sounds like you're getting into some more refined versions of therapy, and I would call you also like a pleasure activist. And I'm curious, that journey that you've gone on, like, what is that person that you're attracting now that is like, and who is that person that is a reflection of the journey that you're on right now as a person, as a woman?
So my journey has been from a place of, like, I had so much insecurity as I was younger, and I tried to improve myself a lot. And I've been really good at improving myself. I've developed a lot of skill. I've been judging myself a lot for not being good enough, even though I constantly is on the path of improving myself. And I've been adding on so much stress in my nervous system. So right now I'm in the place of being a lot. And the clients that comes to me for therapy is many times the type of A persons, like people with a lot of performance anxiety, people with a lot of success, people with a lot of money, people who have achieved a lot, but still they have this nagging feeling of, is this really it? There's some emptiness inside.
Yeah.
So these clients are the clients who come to me for private sessions to come into more of a being. And it could be like everything from sexual problems to relationship problems to lifestyle changes. I remember one client I just recently had for 2 days, tantric session, high performance, type A kind of person, family man. And after 2 days, he just sat in front of me and he smiled and he said, you know, before I came here, having 200 million on my account was my goal. Now, my goal is to go home and to be a present father for my kids and to be an appreciative man for my wife. Beautiful.
You're infusing the meaning back into life.
The true meaning.
The true meaning of yes. Oh, that's so beautiful. Yeah. And it's so beautiful and it's so important. And I find it's also, this is like a completely separate track from group work. You don't find these people, these high profile people who are coming into groups usually. They're coming for one-on-one work. They're getting the direct transmission and then going back out and becoming kind of leaders and spreaders of the work themselves.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's very different than the group than who is showing up for group work.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And so who's showing up? Like, what is your passion right now for the kind of groups that you're leading?
So the passion for my groups is to extract the essence of the people who comes to the group, like to see the variety of people. That's my passion. And to see people bringing out their shadows, bringing out their shame, bringing out everything that they are scared of being judged for, and transforming it with the group energy to the fact why we love you so much, the fact why we're so curious about you, the fact why we feel so safe with you. Process of letting go of all the hiding and using the group dynamic to really, really love even the shadows and the dark parts of people. You're bringing that same quality of oneness, but into the center of the group space. Yeah. And share with me a little bit too how your work with pleasure and sexuality, how that kind of weaves through this. Yeah. Where should I start? Oh yeah. I think we are designed as human beings to have pleasure as our compass, as our inner compass. Pleasure is like our innermost, our true nature, so to say. In tantric and yogic philosophy, it's said that like the deepest part of you is called ananda. And Ananda is the ultimate bliss. And when we are free in our mind, when our bodies are in peace and there is a good flow in the body, when the energy is flowing, and when we're living in a community that is supportive, it's easy to be in touch with the innermost being, the Ananda. And when we are in touch with Ananda, then we can unite with the divine. So for me, pleasure is our true nature and the compass towards a happy life. And it's something that is not so, how can I say, it's not so complicated. So for example, this morning when I should do the dishes, I found myself in so much pleasure just having the water running over my hand. And all of a sudden I felt so grateful, like, oh my God, I'm so grateful that I can feel so much pleasure just from doing the dishes. I'm so grateful. And to have all these like constant reminders in everyday life of gratefulness of being alive, of the pleasure of being alive, for me that make everyday problems really small, and it takes away my focus from maybe the mind fucks or the old shit that most of us carry around. And it's not so, let's say, natural for most people, because most people are quite rigid in their bodies. They are quite stressed. Their mind is really active. So for me, the work I do is to actually use pleasure to come closer to pleasure. So doing different kind of exercises to open the body and to open the mind and to open the energy for pleasure, so that we can feel it more easily. And I'm working a lot with something called kundalini, which is full body orgasm, where the fascia is releasing in orgasmic waves, which has a big impact on the nervous system, on the endocrine system, on the hormone levels, has a big impact on our psyche, has a big impact on our energy level, rising the general energy. So using this inner force that every one of us has, using that to release and to come into the sense of pleasure as a guide in life. That's what I do.
It's amazing. And it's super juicy. And I have a question, because I know for myself as a facilitator, the challenge that it is for me to transmit something that I'm not in connection with. So I imagine for you, you have to be in touch with pleasure a lot. And like, what happens if there's a day where you're not in touch with pleasure, or there's something happening for you, I don't know, hormonally, or like, and it's like you're like, that connection is not there, but you have a group to lead or you have a client to hold, and like, what do you do? How do you source that in yourself?
Oh, that's a very good question, and a very easy question. Because the moment when I hold space for a group or a client, I become extremely present. So all of that other things, my personal drama, I have a lot of drama in my life, my personal mind fucks, and yes, I have them. All of that just drops off. And I become extremely present. I get right into the source. And there is the pleasure. There is the connection to the God. There is the joy of being alive. And I never fail on this. And this is such an important part of the Tantra therapy and what I teach the students. Like, how can I anchor this connection with the divine? How can I anchor this deep presence so that I can pick it out in any moment? And both me and my students who practice this profession as Tantra therapists, we are amazed. Like, how can I have a crappy day? I feel so grumpy. I just had a fight with my ex and I feel like the loneliest person in the world. And then all of a sudden I go into the session and all of that is gone.
Yeah.
And it's like all of my drama sits beside me and I'm just there. And after a couple of hours of session, I come out and I'm like, wow, life is amazing.
Yeah, I can recognize that in myself as well. Yeah, it's very beautiful. Thank you. Yeah. The presence is the key. Yeah. It's amazing how over and over again, no matter how many people I speak with, when we come back to that as the foundation, it's what everything has the possibility to arise from and through. It's like that source energy that just erupts from presence. Yes. And it's amazing still that so many people struggle with presence. They struggle with this, like as you spoke about, the pain in the body, the racing thoughts, the stress, the tension. It's so chronic. I wonder, like, as you continue to work with people, if you have any more thoughts around why people tend to lean into this struggle, this like being so disconnected from themselves, from their bodies, from the alive, like erupting life inside of them. Like, why?
I believe it's a really strong individual pattern in us that we have been taught to live in the future or to live in the past. And it's the nervous system, again, is extremely stressed in most people. The fascia, the connective tissue, is contracted in most people. And it's almost as if this is a destructive force that makes us go into distractions and behaviors that only makes it worse. So rather than dealing with releasing all of this, which would be much more constructive, to practice an hour of yoga and meditation, or to do some self-pleasure, or to cuddle with someone, or to talk and to cry and to release the emotions, it's much easier to bring up the phone and scroll, or take a cup of coffee or a cigarette, or go on shopping, or gossip about someone, or creating drama that temporarily makes you feel a little bit better. So I think it's a like very strong personal patterns that we really have to make an effort to break. We have to repeat again and again to repeat the more healthy patterns. But we also live in a society where there is a massive pattern of stress and anxiety and fear and judgment and comparison and ego and hunting for more and hunting for. So we are constantly being flooded from every direction with the pattern. So I think it's also important to have a community, to have friends, to have people close to you that are on the same path as you, that are supporting you in this breaking of these old patterns.
So beautiful. We must have some kind of telepathy going on, because I keep thinking of questions to ask. And as I'm thinking them, you're already answering them through your share. Like you're following my threads in my mind.
Oh,
It's really, yeah. Because I was just going to ask, I was going to say, like, when people come and have these experiences, what would be the most important way for them to keep integrating those experiences? You know, like the man that you just had a session with, you know, he's going to go back into his life now, and he's going to be confronted with, you know, all the stress and pressure of being a husband and a dad and a CEO or whatever he is. And like, how does he stay connected to that thread of this new meaning that just got reinfused into him?
I believe the practice is really important, to have a daily practice, whether it is meditation or yoga or kundalini release or tantric meditation with your partner. That's very, very important.
Yeah.
And also, like I said, the community, to surround yourself with people who are supporting you. And if there are no one near you, you better find them.
Yeah. Yeah. We need one another. I think that's one of the biggest messages of these spaces, that people recognize when we come together and we're unified by whatever theme, you know, whether it's Tantra or pleasure or group work or therapy, like we're unified in that, finding these allies, and people realize again for the first time, I need people, I need community, I need support. So staying connected.
I believe that humans, we are not made to live so separate. I see us humans more like ants or bees, that
Yeah.
we are supposed to be a community,
Mm.
a very refined community in comparison to bees or ants, where they have just like maybe 4 different types. In humanness, we have so many different types, and we all have our different traits and our different capacities and our different ways. And so we should fit like cogs in a big machine.
Mm.
And that's the danger with trying to be the same as everyone else, or putting certain people aside and saying, well, these people, they are malfunctioning, they have some kind of disorder, they have some kind of combination of letters, ADHD or whatever. We put them aside and we say, well, they are not normal, they should be more like them. I think that's super dangerous, because we all need each other, and we are different by nature, because we are supposed to live more in a group, in a community. And when we are not living together, when we are living separately, we feel empty, we feel lonely. And
Mm.
all of these destructive behaviors are awakening in us
Mm.
as a substitute for this community that we are meant to be.
Yeah. Yeah. I think this is the collective wisdom that we're in an actualization process of right now. It is the rise of so many communities and so much more group work and people living together and house sharing and co-sharing, and it's been really beautiful to see that re-emerge. And I'm curious for you, you've been doing this for quite some time, and one of the really beautiful gifts of having traveled through this path, you've lived different iterations of yourself, you've traveled through different communities, and there's something in the distance of a next mountain, a next becoming. And I'm curious, like, what that is that you see for yourself personally, and also for this field of group facilitation and tantra and, you know, pleasure activism. Like, where are we going? What's
Right.
next? What's on the horizon?
Are you talking about for me as a person, or in my professional life? What is what I see like the trend for the future of Tantra?
I'm curious about both because I imagine there's a connection. So
Mhm.
I imagine that there's some connection, but they could be completely different. So I'm open to both.
Okay, so let me just feel into this.
Yeah.
Mm. Yeah. So what is really alive in me is the in my future, I see myself with a very strong partner. I've been doing this work alone all this
Mm.
all these years. I've had temporary partners who have like pulled in, and they have been like contributing a lot, but not really as equal. And I'm a little bit tired of doing this alone. I see that there is a very strong force beside me who I will do this together with. That's my personal deepest longing. But it's also, for me personally, it's also my biggest wound and the biggest difficulty. I didn't succeed yet in attracting this. And when I look out in the world, I see that what most people are struggling with, it is relationships and commitment to relationships. And I believe that the commitment to the relationship is the healing of all our wounds. It's a healing of our attachment wounds. It's the healing of our inner stress, of this constant hunt for more, for being successful, for earning a lot of money, for having that great car, for being someone in someone's eyes. It's just like a substitute for having this really deep companionship that I think most of us are like striving for, longing for. And I think people have a lot of difficulties creating
Mm.
those intimate relationships. So personally, I want to bring that into my personal life, but I also want to support the world to create those dedicated relationships, and how to have a relationship as a spiritual practice, or how to have a family as a spiritual practice, so that we're not running away from the opportunity to have what is the closest to me as my spiritual practice, as my source of energy, as my portal to joy and bliss and happiness.
Wow. 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 Beautiful. I really see the through line in your personal, in your professional, and in for groups, that transmission of commitment. And I'm curious, like there also seems to be a connection here in like why has facilitation been the most perfect profession for you to face yourself and your relational experience?
Yeah. It's a very interesting question, a very interesting journey. So I'm coming from a core wound of not feeling good enough, and a way for me to handle this was to say fuck you to the world. Was to say I'm going to prove to you that I'm going to succeed no matter what I do. So this has been like my teenage years and my early 20s years, and that's why I fell so much in love with the yoga, because I managed to control a lot of me, and I managed to improve myself a lot and to be someone in someone else's eyes, and it made me feel good because I was no one in my own eyes. And being a facilitator has allowed me to a little bit step out of the group. I'm not a part of the group. I never felt as a part of the group. I always felt a little bit like a lone wolf. And I was allowed to enhance that experience by stepping out. I'm not interacting with you. I'm watching you interact. I'm standing here on the pedestal, and I'm giving you permission to interact, the permission that I don't give myself because I'm so scared. I'm so shy, you know? And I became the best woman in doing it all myself. Everything. And it made me feel more and more separate from what I really, really long for, and that's this deep, committed relationship. But being in touch with that dream was extremely painful for me, because I noticed how my patterns and my behaviors were really far from that. And so standing there on my pedestal and being the queen of Tantra, who allow everyone to make the connections that they want and to follow their truth and to play and to enjoy, that was the perfect shield for me. And I didn't really dare to do it myself. So this is really vulnerable for me to express that, well, I'm done with it. I'm done with doing it myself. I'm curious about what other people can bring in. I'm happy to step down from the pedestal and share with someone else, and to be a student of someone else, and to listen to someone else's like intelligence or insights, and to circulate that energy and to multiply it. Yeah.
I'm really touched by your share. It is really vulnerable, and I can see how common that experience is as a facilitator, to be giving what we are most longing for, and in that giving there's like you're a part of the energy, but it's also keeping you from fully stepping into that yourself.
And it feels really safe, because I'm not challenging myself at all. I'm not being vulnerable at all. I can just, you know. So that's my new path.
Yeah, your new path is actually to be taking yourself the places where you're taking other people. Yeah. Do you want to share at all what that looks like for you? Like how that's manifesting in your world? Like, how do you do that?
How do I do that? I think personally I have to allow myself to be invited rather than to invite. because I've
Mm,
been such a producer all the time, and I've been inviting people in all the time, and it makes it hard for people to invite me in, and there's
mm,
some energetic block there. So I think I have to hold back a little bit on inviting other people in and allow myself to be invited.
mm,
And part
mm,
of that is uh, harvesting, or yeah, how can I say, part of that is indulging in the perfection of this moment, that actually I don't need to be invited, or I don't need to invite, because I'm already invited here. It's already so fulfilling my life, and to be able to rest in the fulfillment of how it is.
mm, mm, mm,
Because it's easy to think that, oh my God, it's just one missing piece, and that's the perfect partner and the companionship. But there is no missing piece. You
mm,
see, everything is just the way it's supposed to be. It's perfect.
mm, 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 mm. I really appreciate that. Um, yeah, what I imagine is like a really exposing vulnerability to claim your desire to be met in commitment and partnership. Like that, I feel in myself, my own shaky little, Bambi legs, and it's the same as you're waiting to be invited. It's like, what if they don't come, and to rest back in the perfection that I don't need. It's already here. It's a very empowering, very inspirational perspective to hold. I'm imagining a lot of people can really resonate with that place right there, and the shaky, tender edge. Hmm. Thank you for sharing this.
Thank you.
Hmm. I know recently you've also started, I think actually just recently, offering something called Tantra for Mothers. And I am curious to hear a little bit more. You've started also sharing about your motherhood journey, and this is something that's very close to my heart right now. I'm curious how that transmission of what Tantra for Mothers is.
Yeah, I think in all our really intimate, the closest relationships, where we really start to see our own wounds. And for me, the motherhood has exposed a lot of wounds. And again, it's just like copy paste this pattern of wanting to be good, wanting to be seen as perfect, wanting to achieve, wanting to perform. And maybe that's not the best recipe for a mother. Maybe the best recipe for a mother is just leaning back and be present. And I think that's the most beautiful thing we can give ourselves and our children, the perfection of the present moment.
Mm,
But I have been, I've had this pattern of wanting to be good and perform and achieve and give my child the perfect childhood. And maybe I haven't really been 100% there all the time, even
mm,
though surface it has been perfect.
mm,
And it takes time to admit this for myself. And it takes time to dare to break that pattern.
mm,
But I'm definitely doing it, and it's extremely beautiful. And I want to support other mothers in doing the same.
mm,
So I noticed who came to the Tantra for Mothers is women who are very stressed in life, who are high achievers, high performers, and also who has the mother role as somewhere partly wanting to be a better mom. I think a really good mom, a really good parent, is to be authentic, and is to dare to be vulnerable, dare to be strong, dare to be to do nothing, dare to be this safe haven before anything else for the child. And that's my personal journey, and what I'm also inviting people to work with in the course.
Mm, mm, mm. So it comes down again to this, the connection of Tantra and mothering is this presence, this this quality of beingness and stability and a kind of level of commitment to staying in contact with the child.
Mm.
Mm.
And I'm so extremely interested in anatomy and physiology, and I see that people who didn't have this as a child, who didn't have a safe connection with their parents, we became overachievers, hunting for dopamine, hunting for adrenaline, searching for peaks and searching for success. Yeah, which is, it's nothing bad with this, but it doesn't. You can't have the same release of dopamine in relationship to a child. In relationship to a child, you release oxytocin.
Mm.
If we didn't have that so much as a child, the circulation of oxytocin between me and my parents, then being with my child may feel frustrating. Why don't I feel so high with my child as I feel when I'm working? Why don't I feel so good with my child as I do when I have a really successful sessions or standing on the stage and people like, oh my God, you're so good. Why do I feel drained? Why do I feel tired? Why do I feel irritated together with my child when everything else is not as important as this? Well, it's because we don't have that experience of this full resting oxytocin, the loop of connection, the just being, the presence, the love, and the grounded feeling from our own childhood. And so it's difficult to offer that to our own kids. So for me, it's a lot about, again, pleasure. How can I establish a pleasurable sensation in my body and make that my goal rather than anything else? How can I promote oxytocin in my body and together with my child and promote the activities that creates this bubble around us of being?
Mm. Mm. Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that, because I was wondering as you were sharing, I was like, how, if that is someone's reality, that they don't know how to get that feedback loop with their child, what is the steps? What do they do? And I
Right.
wonder, like, do you have any practical kind of tips or strategies for mothers, maybe, or fathers who are really struggling to find the joy of parenting?
Mm. Yeah, first of all, is letting go of the dopamine, letting go of the phone, letting
Yeah.
go of the screen, yeah, and start to live in real life.
Mm.
For many parents, that's exhausting because they are so hooked on the dopamine kicks.
Mm.
The next step is to be physical together and playful. So it could be cuddling together, reading books, having the body contact, sleeping together with a child, playing together. Like, as an adult, try to be playfulness, try to see the world of the child, stepping down and be curious about what they do,
Mm.
being in the sensations, in the physical body together with the child rather than in the achieving mind and what to do next. Just let go of all that. And then being with a child is like a meditation. It's like the best spiritual teacher that you can ever have. Someone who brings you into the present moments, into your body.
Mm. Mm. Beautiful. Thank you. That's really, really helpful. I can recognize a lot of that in myself as a parent.
Mm.
Mm. I know there's a beautiful meditation that you lead, and I wonder if now feels like a good time to perhaps give this as a gift to the listeners.
Mm. Yeah, I think this is the perfect moment. We have been doing quite a lot of shadow work during our talk here today, and talking, bringing up things that I think many people can recognize themselves in and
Mm.
feel like tender, vulnerable around, and maybe brings up self-judgment. And I think this meditation is extremely powerful
Mm.
for yourself and for the world. So
Mm.
let's do the metta meditation together. What do you
Great.
think? Yes.
Yes, I would love to.
Mm. I'm inviting you for a moment to just close your eyes and take a moment to rest here and now. Nowhere to go, nothing to do. Just listen. Listen to the sounds around you. Listen to my voice and allow my voice to guide you deep into yourself. Notice how your breath slows down as you relax. And your body is heavy on the surface under you. Take a moment and feel your heart. Feel the pulse of your heart. The heart is a magical place. The very special and unique muscle that, unlike all the other muscles in your body, doesn't need to rest. Reversely. Continues to be tirelessly until the end of your life. The energy of the heart doesn't judge good from bad, right from wrong. It continues to be in good times and in bad times. It doesn't stop just because you think you're lost. It doesn't stop just because you're suffering. It continues to be out of pure love or light. How does love feel? What if you could tap into love in this very moment? Notice the energy of love. And allow that energy
to expand with every inhale. Every inhale, allow the chest and the heart to expand to accommodate more of the energy of life. Every inhale, increasing it, like filling you up from inside. Feeling your whole torso, your arm, down hip, out in your arms and legs. Allowing the energy of love to expand. Maybe even expanding around your body like a halo. Now, imagine some of the people that you love the most standing in front of you. And allowing this halo of love to grow and to expand and to include these people in the halo of love. And what if your love could expand to hold these people? How would they look? What facial expression do they get? What's happening to their posture when they are surrounded by love like this? Notice how the energy of love grows in this moment. Oh my God, it grows more and more. Scroll down to touch even the people who you don't have a close relationship to. Maybe it's the woman who works in the supermarket, or your neighbor, or the bus driver that usually takes you to work. Imagine one or two people who are not known, but who you usually meet. Imagine that your love grows to touch Eve. Where are they? How do their posture change and their facial expression? And they are being embraced by your love. And the love just grows and grows. It's expanding more and more. Now I want you to imagine someone that has done you wrong, either now or in the past, someone that you see as your enemy or someone who you feel dislike and uncomfortable with. And imagine that this love, it grows to embrace also this person.
Maybe their facial expression changes and their body postures and their behavior. If they will be held by such a beautiful love, maybe their thoughts and actions will change. Oh my God, and love just grows. You can allow this love to grow even more, to embrace this whole planet, everything in it, all the beautiful forms, lakes, all the animals, the bugs, the fishes, creatures, embracing all the people. And this love can grow out into the universe, into the unknown. Just more and more. Now this energy gently contracts down to hold this beautiful planet like a halo of love. Hold the lakes, the mountains, forests, animals, the people here, hold them in love. Holding your uncomfortable acquaintances and enemies, holding them. Holding the strangers and the ones who are close to you, the one that you really love and holding them. All the way back to yourself. Notice how you are surrounded by this beautiful unconditional love. Holding everything you are, your life, your love, your beauty, your pain. All of that love. Now notice the pulsation of your heart. It's non-judgmental, tirelessly beating every moment for the joy of life. Dive deeper into the heart, deeper into the center of your heart. What if we could be more like the heart? What if we could live back
from this unconditional love, not judging good from bad, right from wrong. Within a few moments, we're going to open our eyes and allow the heart to see the world. Take one more really deep breath. With a couple of blinkings from your eyes, just open your eyes and allow your heart to look out and be filled from all the colors and shapes and light. Thank you. That was really, really beautiful. Thank you. I have tears still streaming down my cheeks and feeling so much love and appreciation. And thank you for that. Beautiful. You call it a metta meditation. It was gorgeous. Um, Thank you so much for spending this time with me, Lin. I really look forward to getting to be in person with you again. And for anyone else who's also curious and excited to meet Lin in person, I can highly recommend checking out her website, which is very appropriately called theartoflove.nu, and finding out where you can meet her and find her, probably somewhere in Sweden, scattered throughout the year. And thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It's been so nice to hang out with you, and I'm also looking forward to see you in real life as soon as possible. Good luck with everything.
Thank you.
Thank you for doing this work.
Thank you so much for joining this episode of In Presence We Trust. Join us next week for another exciting new special guest and interview on this facilitation podcast. Until then, you can check out my website, thefield.com, for information on upcoming courses with myself, and also check out previously recorded episodes and special guest interviews. Special thank you to all the beings who've contributed to the creation of this podcast: Michelle, Vaishnavi, Joby, Lavinia, and the sound fields, Thomas and John. Thank you again for joining as we continue the journey and open up this new communal space and learning environment that is In Presence We Trust. You can subscribe or follow wherever you get your podcasts, and if you're watching on YouTube, please feel free to like and comment below. Until next time, deep breath.